Hello to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist for Misha Shade. It's that time of the day again, time to find out what's cooking, what's happening out there in the tropics. Of course, we are getting closer and closer to the end of hurricane season, and that is a great thing. But until we get there, there's always a risk we could have some showers and storms try to develop into a closed center of circulation and area of low pressure, get stronger, and possibly become a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or a hurricane. Fortunately, no hurricanes out there. In fact, extremely quiet out across the Atlantic. As far as any development over the next couple of days, none at all expected for the Atlantic. So we've got a very quiet Atlantic basin, but of course, hurricane season will continue on until November 30th. So we are not out of the woods yet. So just keep in mind that things may be quiet now, but we could always still get some other activity developing. We still can get tropical waves pushing in from the far east Atlantic, and we could also get some tropical systems that could form along cold fronts. That happens more and more for this time of the year. So good things are happening in the Atlantic because we don't have any tropical action out there, but things are different across the eastern Pacific. We've now got a tropical storm. Yesterday it was a tropical depression, and before that just a disorganized area of showers and storms off of the west central to southwest coast of Mexico. But today, as of this morning, this area of disturbed weather has strengthened and blossomed into a tropical storm. So this is now Tropical Storm Roslyn. It is expected to become a hurricane, and a pretty powerful hurricane over the next couple of days. It's going to bring the threat for flooding, landslides to west central Mexico, southwestern portions of Mexico, and it will actually start to make a curve, a turn to the northeast as we go into this weekend. And that could potentially mean that some of that moisture from whatever is left of Roslyn after it moves over Mexico could make it into our area here in southeast Texas as we go into next week. So Roslyn could indirectly act to bump up our rain chances next week. Something to watch. Of course, we'll keep you posted as things unfold. But here is the projected path for Tropical Storm Roslyn. It is expected to strengthen rapidly. In fact, it will likely be a hurricane as we go into the weekend, and at its strongest, it is forecast to be right around 100 miles per hour over the weekend. So that is a pretty powerful Category 2 hurricane, not quite considered a major hurricane. That would be Category 3 or greater, but still a 100 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane can do quite a bit of damage. That means sustained winds around 100 miles per hour, wind gusts even stronger than that, maybe up to 110, 115 miles per hour. Of course, you have the threat for tornadoes, you've got the threat for storm surge, the threat for several inches of rain. So as this pushes into southwestern and west central Mexico, likely late Sunday into Monday, that's going to mean a very high flood risk. And as it moves over some of the rugged terrain over parts of Mexico, the threat for landslides as well. So this is something that we are monitoring closely. This system will blow up and get pretty strong quickly. Already a tropical storm, and then as I mentioned over the weekend, Category 1 hurricane, then a Category 2 hurricane. Then I think as we go into Monday, after it makes landfall, it will quickly weaken back to a tropical depression. But look where it is. It's starting to get closer to Texas by Monday, so that means that some of that moisture could get thrown our way as another cold front rolls in, and that could potentially mean some better rain chances for us. So we're looking at the 2022 Pacific names, of course. We are now using Roslyn, so if we do get additional systems, we'd have Seymour next on the list, Tina, Virgil, then Winifred. So hopefully we won't have to use those, but those would be the next names for any system that develops in the eastern Pacific. Now across the Atlantic, we're extremely quiet right now, but if we did get some action and we started to see another tropical system developing and it became a named storm, the next name on the list would be Lisa, then Martin, Nicole, Owen, Paula, Richard, then Sherry, and Tobias. But of course, we are keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have to get that far down on the list, and we are getting closer and closer to the finale, the grand finish, the end of hurricane season. Of course, the peak was right around September 10th, and we are getting closer to the end of October, believe it or not. This year is just flying by. It seems like every year that passes, it goes faster and faster, even though it really doesn't. But, you know, it kind of seems that way as you get older. But as we go into November, notice Any risk for hurricanes, tropical storms, tropical depressions really starting to decrease for late October into November. We still can't totally rule it out, but the chances are getting lower. But as always, you need to make sure that you review those hurricane preparedness plans. Make sure you know what to do just in case one of these systems pops up and decides to head our way. So that's the latest on what's happening in the tropics. Fairly quiet across the Atlantic. One named storm, of course, Roslyn in the Pacific. We'll continue to track that for you and keep you posted over the weekend. Of course, if you haven't already, make sure to head to the App Store, download the Fox 26 weather app. You don't want to be out and about without it. It's got tons of useful, helpful information. Of course, if we've got rain moving in, you can track it on our radar anywhere you are. So very useful, very cool app to have, and hopefully you will go and get it if you haven't gotten it already. Download that from the App Store. Of course, you can get it if you have an Android phone or an iPhone. So it's everywhere. Fox 26 weather app, definitely one to have. Also, check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Ramisha Shade TV, at Ramisha Shade Weather, and at Ramisha Shade. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there.